Hey guys, it's ArchieLuxury, your partner on the Pluta channel. Today guys, I am doing a paid review 21QA136. And before we start this review, a quick wristwatch check. What am I wearing? I'm wearing my Milgauss, the Milli Z Blue. Okay, let's jump straight into this paid review here. The guy is keen, and I'm keen to do this review. Hi Arch, please refer to me as John in your video. This is the watch review / personal advice request sent from, he said, from another email address on PayPal. Okay, fair enough. I hope you're doing well. I would like your thoughts on my personal career, life situation, as well as my watch collection. So I've sent you $125 US because I know you don't do shit for free. I'll start with the personal advice because it may add context to the watch collection. Yes, indeed. Let's have a look. I am currently in my early to mid-20s in the southern United States. I graduated with honors in engineering from college, and during that time I worked several internships in the automotive and defense industries. When I started my first job out of college as a developer, I quickly thought, "Fuck me dead," as I knew I was unhappy and totally uninspired by my career choice. So I decided to recently quit the job, even though it paid well and was very secure. It was a tough decision. My real passion has always been investing in the stock market since I was young. I have been stingy as hell my whole life and have saved all my money from birthdays, internships, and my job out of school and invested it in stocks. I had researched thoroughly, allowing me to accumulate about $300,000 US by the time I quit my job. Mostly due to some good stock picks, I have now decided to go back to school for a graduate degree in finance in a large US city to pursue a more interesting career for me. However, the move and school will cost quite a bit of money. I have no debt. Do you agree with my decision to quit my job and go back to school? How do I resist? That's okay. That's the first. So he's got a whole stack of questions here. Okay, so early 20s. So what can I say here? Just reading this here. So firstly, I would say, John, congratulations, $300,000. That is a lot of dough. That is an absolute lot of dough. That's quite amazing. Early to mid 20s. Man, that is, you are really killing it. Absolutely killing it. Okay, so now you decided to go back to grad school in finance, okay, to pursue a more interesting career. Okie dokie. So what do I think? Okay, for starters, I got to tell you, congratulations on 300,000. I got to give you advice that I think this is advice from my perspective. We've all got different perspectives, and this advice may not necessarily suit you, but I tell you, my gut feeling is, I watched a video on Warren Buffett years ago, and he was talking to a group of students in college, and he was saying, what would he do? Is it better to go to these Ivy League universities to do a degree? And what Warren Buffett said is he would go to a college university to pursue a degree. He said, in his opinion, it doesn't seem to justify huge student loans you end up with by going to a prestigious school. So Warren Buffett sort of says, try and get your degree as reasonably cost as possible. You don't have to go to the most prestigious school to have the smarts and the brains for it. So I think that is good advice there. You haven't really said, are you going to an expensive school? Is it a private university? What exactly are you doing? The other thing I would like to share with you, if you have a look on the internet, there's a lot of jobs. What's it like to be a consultant with KPMG? What's it like to be a consultant with Price Waterhouse? And they've also got these big finance, these big companies there. The dream jobs to have. And the interesting thing is that a lot of these dream jobs, you go in on up to 100,000, but they want their pound of flesh. They want their pound of flesh. I got to tell you, the funny thing is, you know, life is what happens. What John Lennon said, life is what happens when you're making other plans, you know. Look, 300,000 is a hell of a lot of dough. Personally, I think the reality is, no matter what job you go into, they all kind of suck. They all kind of suck. I was in the IT field, and I worked for a number of companies, including Kellogg Brown and Root, KBR. And I got to tell you, I had a lot of fun on some projects, and then when I went to head office, I saw how KBR ran things. It really sucked. So I got to be totally honest with you. I don't wish to pop the balloon, but the reality is a lot of corporate America sucks. It really does suck. What I would do if I had 300,000 at your age, okay, for starters, let me tell you, don't buy expensive motor cars. Don't buy an expensive motor car. What I would do is, personally, I think the best thing you could do, if you've got 300,000, the best investment you could buy is buy a home for yourself. A home. Now, that could be a house. It could be a condo, an apartment. Doesn't really matter. I would get a fully paid off home, because no matter what the hell happens, you've got a place to live. That's what I would be doing. 300,000. I mean, that's fantastic. See, you can look at these things and say, well, I got 300,000. No point buying a home when I can lease a home and invest it and get... No, I think, honestly, the best advice I can give you, that is amazing to have 300,000 at your age. Personally, I think the most sensible thing, I don't know what part of the country, do you tell me? I don't think you tell me what part of the country, but I would try and buy some sort of house or apartment. Obviously, if you're in New York or San Francisco, it's going to be damn expensive. But if you're in the flyover states, you're going to get a lot of bang per buck. So I personally, I don't think that matters. That's irrelevant. I would personally buy a house, a home. When I say a home, I mean an apartment or a house or a condo, somewhere to live. And is it wrong to get a mortgage? Not really. No, there's nothing wrong with getting a mortgage, but I would try and get a home. Maybe if you wanted to play it a little bit specky, take a bit of a risk. Say you're buying a place for 500,000, maybe put 200 in, keep 100 out to play investing, and borrow 3, just depending on what loan and facilities you can get. But I definitely, my advice to you, if you've got money like that, have a fully paid off home. There are no foreclosures on fully paid off homes. So, do I agree with your decision to quit my job and go back to school? Look, if you are unhappy, you've got to do what makes you happy, okay? The only problem is, what I think you may find is, you may find finance sucks just as much. It sucks. My dad was a CPA, and I said, oh, that's a bit of a boring job. But where it's fun is you're dealing with clients. The clients, they have an interesting story. So it's not so much the work, it's the people you're working with that make the position. Now, I got to be totally honest with you. If you think you're going to go into finance and that is your dream job, and well, it may not be, that may also suck. Personally, I've got to tell you, my own experience is the best jobs to have are ones where you work for yourself. And I mean, look, let's face it, if you've managed to acquire 300,000 by your mid-20s, my God, you're like a super manager yourself. You can manage your money, you can really achieve fantastic results. I mean, the way you're going is fire, financially independent, retire early. This is, if you get your own home, then get a big portfolio of stocks or whatever, you really can do what you want. So I think the answer is, it's not necessarily this magic job in finance. I think you might find it just as suckworthy. But hey, you're young enough. I wouldn't waste huge amounts. You haven't told me how much this post-grad degree in finance is costing, but it sounds expensive. You want to get a post-grad degree in finance in a large US city to pursue a more interesting career. I think you may find that job just as suckworthy as the other job you had. So that's the only thing. So do I agree with your decision to quit your job and go back to school? I don't agree with it, and I don't disagree. I think I'm kind of neutral to it. I think myself, my best advice to you is buy a home. Buy a home for yourself. You've got 300,000. Get a home. Hopefully pay the sucker off, and then you never have to worry about that. So how do I feel about your decision? Only you can decide. It's your life. I don't think it's the worst decision to go back to school and get more qualifications. Nothing wrong with it. But I'm more interested in your 300,000. Okay, so that's to answer that. So if you really want to do a degree, that's nothing wrong with it. Finish it, but hopefully you're not getting a special expensive degree. I hope it's not a Harvard or something ridiculous. Well, a Harvard can be okay if you get a job out of it, but as I said, Warren Buffett said, go to the least expensive school you can put up with. So that's the first question. So I'm kind of neutral. I'm not one way or the other on your decision. You've got to do what makes you happy. But I think the reality is, as an older man, I think you'll find the finance jobs will suck just as much as the engineering job. So that's my view. Number 2, how do I resist my nature to be stingy and enjoy life more in general? Wow, yes. Very, very good point. And I'll tell you an answer to that. That's a really good question. You know something? I have the same problem. I had good money. I mean, I've never been super rich, but when I had my computer business in my early 20s, I was upper middle class. Then I closed that in my late 20s. I became lower middle class. And then I drove taxis. I was working class. And then I went back into IT, lower middle. And now YouTube, working class again. Well, you get the drift. But in all honesty, jokes aside, me and the wife are probably worth, in Aussie dollars, $1.2 million net. That means asset minus liability, 1.2 million Aussie dollars. Okay, so how do I resist my nature to be stingy? Now, this is the thing. This is what you got to do. So in my case, yes, I'm extremely stingy for things like clothing. I've done cars. I have done automobiles. Now I've got a Honda Civic, which is not a prestige car, with 200,000, that's 150,000 miles on the clock, okay? But what I'll do is I will buy watches. So I will spend on watches, which I consider to be an investment, Rolex, Patek Philippe. I will even buy Louis Vuitton hard case luxury goods, which I know a lot about. So the thing is, what you find is that the rich people, they buy antiques, they buy special things that go up. poorer people buy things that depreciate: yachts, speedboats, fancy-wancy cars. So I would say put money into investments, not money into depreciating assets like motor vehicles, boats. That's what I would do. I would say personally, like buying nice clothing. I think honestly, if you want to be in finance, you've got to look the part. There's no good buying your clothing from Walmart if you want to be in the finance. You've got to look the part, and image is a big thing. So I wouldn't say go for Giorgio Armani or bespoke, but you could get some really nice mid-tier clothing. So you've got to look the part. You want to look professional. It's also like if you are in the finance industry, you don't want to look like you don't have any money. You've got to present a reasonable. So you'd want a Camry, a 2 or 3 year old Camry. You don't necessarily want a 15-year-old Chevy absolutely on its last legs. You've got no credibility. So I think you've got to realize sometimes to get the right job and to present the right image, you need to have a few key things. But my advice is spend money on property, real estate, shares, watches. You don't want to spend money on motor vehicles, speedboats, things like that. So buy things that go up. That's what I would do. I enjoy some luxury goods such as my JLC, my Tom Anderson guitars, Tom Ford sunglasses. But what other luxury goods should a young man focus on? Okay, so I tell you what I tried to do when I started to earn some money. I wanted to try the best of everything. So instead of having 20 wristwatches, you'd say, well, I want a really good watch. We'll talk about your watches in a minute. You've got a JLC. That's an absolute cracker of a watch. You may have like a sports watch and a dress watch, the yin and the yang. You might say, well, you know what? I'm going to be in an office. Instead of having a really cheap, nasty biro, I might get a fountain pen, a quality fountain pen. Here, I've got a Cartier. I bought this one on eBay. This is an 80s fountain pen. Instead of it being made of plastic, it's actually lacquered metal. This was, I think, about $400 or $500, but it's going to last a lifetime. So I would generally say you don't need to have 20 fountain pens. You get 1 or 2 fountain pens. You want a briefcase of some sort. You want maybe a nice pair of cuffs. You just want to have the nice set. You've got to say to yourself, okay, image. If I'm a successful finance person, you'd need to have a couple of nice suits, a couple of nice shirts. You would have, now I wouldn't go for Tom Ford suits because they're $10,000, but nice suits, not a Walmart suit. I'd go for, and what you do is your accessories, you'd go for more expensive, beautiful JLC. That's a very nice luxury watch. Nice pair of cufflinks, maybe Paul Smith cufflinks, which are quite reasonable. A nice fountain pen, Mont Blanc, Cartier, DuPont. There's a number of brands there. So I would say to myself, what's some nice things that I can have of quality? I don't need 50, just some nice things. Maybe a nice camera, maybe a nice, what I think you want to do is buy quality items. Let's look at it this way. You buy a quality briefcase or a bag. It'll last you a lifetime. Instead of it being thrown out and tossed out, it'll last you a long time. And every time you use it, it's a beautiful quality thing. So it'll actually save you money. So I would say, you'd like some nice clothes. You want some nice business attire. You've got to be present as a professional. You want to have a nice fountain pen or a biro. You want to have a nice briefcase of some sort. It doesn't have to be Louis Vuitton or, ridiculous, but maybe a Coach, a good brand Coach. It could be Mont Blanc, So I would say myself, get some quality things. Great magazine, GQ magazine, Gentleman's Quarterly. Look at some things. Don't always go for the most expensive. Just present yourself as a professional. And then you'd have some nice casual clothes. What happens if you met a nice girl whose father, say, is worth over $100 million? Well, you don't really want to be in the Walmart, rags. You want to present nicely. So you got to try and spin an image which is kind of going to help your career and your future life there. So that's what I would do. I would start to say, everything you touch, I want to have a piece of quality. It doesn't have to be ridiculous quality. A nice watch, a nice pair of glasses, sunglasses or reading glasses. I don't know if you need reading glasses at your age. A nice wallet, just some nice quality things. Everything you touch, I want to be nice, not made in China. I want nice quality. That's what I would be doing there. I have thoughts about starting a YouTube channel about my investment portfolio research. What's my thoughts on that? Look, I would say YouTube can be a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun. Look, the only danger with YouTube is you want to kind of have an anonymous name. Like I use my real name. So if I go for a job, you betcha they do searches and see. If you make a nice channel on investing, possibly not use your real name, just be anonymous. Why not? Give it a shot. If you like this thing, it can't hurt. Give it a try. I'm not here to say yes or no, you'll like it or you'll hate it. It depends. I tell you what, if you've built 300,000, I would love to hear your story. One investing channel I watch a lot of is the Graham Stephan Show. And I got to be honest with you, he's a bit up himself. He really thinks his shit doesn't stink. But I was intrigued. He didn't do well at college. He became a real estate agent. He bought these properties and now he's super successful. I would love to hear your story because you're not far off that. 300,000 by your mid-20s. My God, that is incredible. That is incredible. So I would, I got to tell you, I would say to you, man, start a YouTube channel, give it a shot. It's fun. I really love what I've done is, I got to be honest with you, I never really had good friends. I never really cared about that. I had a few friends, but I really just made YouTube my best buddy. And I started making videos. When I was at work, I used to research topics. I mean, I ended up getting the sack for doing stuff at work. But the thing is, I built up this core. It's not necessarily quality. I was consistent. I just made videos. And eventually, enough of this stuff stuck. I got a nice pay base. It brings in money. And I now do this full time. And I got to tell you, I make more money now than I did in my previous full-time employment contracting IT job. So, hey, and it also gives me a lot of freedom. I've got the beauty about my YouTube channel is the thing I like is I love watches, but I don't sell watches. I mean, I sell the odd one that I want to get rid of, but I'm not a buying and selling as a business because I think if you make it your full-time gig, it's no longer a hobby. See, it becomes a chore. And I travel, I love travel, and the travel is a tax deduction because I'm getting content, making content. So this business fits in beautifully with my lifestyle. I've got my own studio. I've got books. The books are a tax deduction. Everything I do here, it works out so well. Is YouTube the answer? Look, I don't know, but I got to tell you something. Between you and me, for a young guy to have 300,000, that is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I hope you don't just blow that all on some stupid post-grad degree. That's the only thing that worries me. Keep it. Buy a home. Buy a home. I know it's not the sexiest investment, but buy a home. That's what I would definitely be doing there. So 100%, 100% I'd buy a home, and then I would, man, I think you are nailing it. I would try and get quality pieces. Instead of getting garbage, buy just one. You think to yourself, research it. What's a good pen? So you get in my case, I've got two pens I love, believe it or not. I've actually got two pens I really love. I've got the Cartier fountain pen, and the other fountain pen I really love, they both got 18 karat nibs, is my Parker Duofold. Parker Duofold is the top of the line Parker. These were about $1,000. And I actually prefer both of those to Mont Blanc. I wasn't that impressed with some of the Mont Blanc pens, and I got a beautiful, beautiful Dunhill. Look, this is just quality. It's just a very, look at this. It's novel how you turn it, right? And it goes in, so you use it. And then when it goes back in, the thing comes out so you can stick it in your shirt. This is, the engineering in this is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this pen. That pen is, it's a beautiful piece of art. So that's my advice to you. So I'm not against you doing study. Study is not a bad thing, but as long as you're not wasting that 300,000, man, that is, you should be so damn proud of yourself. I tell you what, we're going to stop this video. That will be part 1, and then we'll do another video where I review your watch collection. I just want to give you the advice. I want to give you value for money. So that's part 1. So we'll come back to part 2, and we'll talk about your watch collection. Guys, like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Don't forget to put some comments below. And remember, I can't survive on Google Ads. I need paid reviews like this to survive. Get a paid review, $50 US. Look in the description, get one done now, and I will give you advice that you need. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury, and who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and don't be afraid to get a paid review. $50 US for a paid review. It helps me stay full-time on YouTube, and I will see you in the next one. $50 US paid review. I can't survive on Google Ads. I need your support. And guys, you could also sponsor me on Patreon. Patreon allows you to pay as little as $1 a month to keep me on YouTube. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. Who do I recommend for watches in Brisbane and Sydney? Vintage Watch Co. That's correct. Vintage Watch Co. in Brisbane Arcade in Brisbane and the Strand Arcade in Sydney. Vintage Watch Co. Brisbane and Sydney. Ronnie, I've known him since the late 90s. Ronnie is a top bloke. Luke is a great guy. Vintage Watch Co. That is who I recommend in Australia. Check out Vintage Watch Co. and the guys' amazing range of watches. They also do service and repairs. Vintage Watch Co. That is where the Pontiff goes. You know, some of my Pateks came from Vintage Watch Co. That's right, guys. Vintage Watch Co.